The mansion was silent in the way only wealth could afford. Thick carpets swallowing footsteps, tall curtains holding back the sun, and walls so polished they reflected lives that were anything but perfect. In the nursery at the end of the marble hallway, a soft cry broke the stillness. It was a baby's cry. Small, helpless, trembling. Aisha froze mid-step, the laundry basket slipping slightly in her arms. Her heart clenched. "That's Adam," she whispered. She had worked in the Rahman mansion for 3 years now. Long enough to know every sound, every echo, every routine. Long enough to love the small baby boy as if he were her own blood. Adam was barely 8 months old. And he should not have been crying like that. Aisha hurried toward the nursery, her simple sandals barely making a sound on the cold floor. As she reached the door, she heard a sharper noise, an angry hiss of a voice, followed by the baby's cry growing louder. Her breath caught. She pushed the door open. Inside stood Vanessa Hale, the millionaire's fiancée, perfectly dressed even inside the house, hair flawless, face beautiful and hard like carved marble. In her arms was Adam, his tiny fists clenched, face red with fear and confusion. "A baby like this should learn early," Vanessa snapped coldly. "Crying for no reason. Disgusting." She shook him roughly, not enough to leave marks but enough to terrify. Aisha dropped the basket. "Please," she cried, rushing forward. "Madam, please don't. He's just a baby." Vanessa turned, eyes sharp and irritated. "Get out." Aisha fell to her knees. "I beg you," she said, tears spilling freely. "He doesn't understand. He misses his father. Please, please stop." Adam's cries broke into choking sobs. Vanessa's jaw tightened. "You maids get too attached. He's not yours." She lifted her hand again, not to strike hard but to punish, to frighten. Aisha covered her mouth. "Please," she sobbed. "If you're angry, take it out on me. Please don't hurt him." Vanessa laughed softly. "Pathetic." And then, the nursery door opened behind them. "What is going on here?" The voice was calm, deadly calm. Vanessa froze. Aisha looked up, hope and terror crashing together in her chest. Standing in the doorway was Mr. Daniel Rahman, the millionaire, Adam's father. Daniel Rahman was a man the world admired. Self-made, powerful, respected. His name was on buildings, scholarships, hospitals. But inside these walls, he had been absent. After his wife, Lena, died during childbirth complications, Daniel buried himself in work. The pain of looking at his son reminded him too much of what he had lost. That was when Vanessa entered his life. Elegant, charming, emotionally distant. She promised stability, control, and a proper future for his household. He believed her. He trusted her with his son. Now, as Daniel looked at the scene before him, his maid on her knees, his baby crying in terror, his fiancée standing rigid with anger, something inside him cracked. "What," he repeated slowly, "is going on here?" Vanessa recovered quickly. "Daniel, you're home early. The maid is overreacting." The baby wouldn't stop crying. Daniel crossed the room in 3 strides and took Adam from her arms. The moment Adam felt his father, he clutched Daniel's suit tightly and cried harder, burying his face into his chest. Daniel felt it. The fear. The trembling. The truth. He looked at Aisha. "Why were you begging?" Aisha shook uncontrollably. "Sir, I didn't want to speak against Madam, but she was angry. She was shaking him. He was crying so much. I begged her to stop." Vanessa's voice sharpened. "She's lying. She's too attached. I told you she was emotional." Daniel looked down at his son, then back at Vanessa. "Leave us," he said quietly. Vanessa scoffed. "Daniel." Now. Something in his eyes silenced her. She stormed out. Daniel knelt beside Aisha. "You can stand," he said gently. She shook her head. "I'm sorry, sir. I should have protected him better." Daniel felt shame burn his chest. "No," he said firmly. "I should have." That night, Daniel checked the security cameras. something he had never bothered to do before. What he saw broke him. Vanessa's coldness, her impatience, the way Adam flinched when she entered the room, the way Aisha always stepped in, soothing, protecting, singing softly to calm the baby. Daniel sat alone in his study until morning. When the sun rose, so did a new father. Vanessa did not expect to be confronted. She did not expect her engagement ring to be taken back. She did not expect security to escort her out. "You embarrassed me," she hissed. "No," Daniel replied calmly. "You endangered my child." She laughed bitterly. "You don't even love that baby. You barely see him." Daniel held Adam closer. "I didn't," he admitted. "But someone reminded me how." He looked at Aisha, standing quietly near the door. Vanessa followed his gaze, eyes narrowing with jealousy and rage. "This maid," she sneered. Daniel's voice was steady. "This woman saved my son when I failed." Vanessa left the mansion humiliated and furious, her cruelty exposed. Life in the mansion changed. Daniel rearranged his work schedule. Meetings were postponed. Business trips cancelled. Every evening he sat in the nursery, learning how to hold his son properly, how to feed him, how to calm his cries. Aisha guided him gently. "Like this, sir," she would say softly. "He likes when you hum." Daniel would smile awkwardly, then try. Adam would smile back. One evening, Daniel found Aisha crying quietly in the kitchen. "What's wrong?" he asked. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Now that Madam is gone. Maybe you won't need me anymore." Daniel was stunned. "You think I'd send you away?" he asked. She nodded. "I'm just a maid." Daniel shook his head. "Your family." Her tears fell freely then. Months passed. Adam grew stronger, happier. The mansion filled with laughter again. Daniel established a foundation in Lena's name, for children and caregivers. He also did something unexpected. He offered Aisha legal guardianship support, education opportunities, and a permanent place in the household, not as a servant but as Adam's caregiver and family. One night, as Adam slept peacefully between them during story time, Daniel spoke quietly. "You saved my son," he said. "And you saved me." Aisha smiled softly. "Love always does, sir." Daniel looked at his son. And for the first time since Lena's death, his heart felt whole. Ending message. Sometimes, the richest hearts belong to those with the least power. And sometimes, a maid's courage is what saves a family.